y'all doing? It's Heather and I again. We have
We're
another
back.
another episode for you. What day is it? it's
It's a Monday,
it
January
is
20th,
January.
2025.
Yeah,
Martin Luther King Jr. Day,
that's right.
Inauguration Day.
And inauguration day today.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not talking about that though. I don't personally, as whatever it is that I am to the divine collective, whatever that is. I don't think it's important for us to be so involved in all that up on the hill, the hill.
Mhm.
Um, I think I was listening to a TikTok yesterday while I was washing dishes, and it was talking about this is our new future and this is the direction we're going in,
Mhm.
and we all need to gather together and like go up there and march on DC. And I was like washing the dishes, going, nope,
Whoa.
that ain't for me.
All
I'm over
right.
here. We're for what comes next. The
Yeah.
societies and the groups and the communities that come next. So I've been saying it for like a lot of years. Stay out of it. Everybody
Yeah.
just stay out of it. Get on the
Yeah.
sidelines. Like the excitement of building these communities with a different social standard outside of a currency, outside of any form of Capricornian, that patriarchal structure that requires a hierarchy and all that. No. The next steps for us have to do with community, sharing, kindred spirits, and taking care of each other, but also, having some damn good times. I was telling Heather I'm coming to get her. I'm like, bitch, I'm coming to get you.
We were definitely having some good laughs.
Right. That was
But
great.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so I so I was just thinking, like, this weekend I was watching Saturday Night Live and Dave Chappelle hosted, and man, he
Oh,
did a phenomenal job. His
I,
you have to tell, I got all kinds of Dave Chappelle good times.
yeah, the Dave Chappelle one with where he was like, "Why didn't I get invited?" To some of
Oh,
these.
you saw that? Yeah. He was like,
I
he's
love
like,
about
then I realized I was ugly. I was ugly. You mean to tell me that all of Hollywood was at these parties and I
right.
didn't get
I
invited?
didn't get one
So
invite.
yeah, I was just
That was
touching.
great.
I was just going to touch on when he was like, we have, Trump being inaugurated on Monday, and whether you Trump, I know you're watching. I
Right.
know you're watching. Whether somebody voted for you or didn't vote for you, they're counting
Right.
on you.
Oh, I know.
Do better. Do
Do
better. And
better.
that's our message for everybody. Just do better
Do
this time.
better.
Just do better. There's a lot
You
of
know,
people counting on you.
what's it called? This past week has had a pattern of at least three conversations that had to do with the type, like they were calling it, the type of person that could go outside and for hours, because we grew up like that in almost a state of zen, climbing trees, staring at bugs, looking at a blade of grass. And these conversations the past 3 weeks, it was kind of like you can always tell when a person has this alignment with spirit, because all those things that we find life in become very, very precious to us. Even
Hmm.
if it's a blade of grass, there's an appreciation there. There's an honor there. But and a privilege, you know what I mean? Like you stand there
Yeah.
in wonder and awe, like an ant going over your sandwich. But that sort of joining together, and those of us that have that gift, it why do we get drawn into my brain like this? You got to push me back out, because now I'm fixing to talk about World War II,
You
and I
talk
mean,
about whatever
just
you got to
like,
talk about. We're messengers.
dang
We
it, because Pluto just left Capricorn, right?
hmm.
And Pluto is in Cancer. Oh, wait, wait, wait. We got to talk about the alignments of that. We have three different positions of three major generational planets. They're each moving into positions where the world was at some sort of turmoil, including the United States, especially the United States.
Very true.
So I do think about that. The Pluto and Cancer generation that everyone likes to call the greatest generation. We just left that opposition to that. Does that make sense? Pluto
Mm-hmm.
and Capricorn, we just left.
Yeah.
We're fixing to go into the American Revolutionary War. Um, at the end of World War II, which is what you were asking me this morning. You want to tell them the code that we broke this morning?
Gosh, which one? We've been talking for a while. Which one are you
The
bringing about
no, this
specifically?
morning you asked me what was going on for these 3 different dates in your world.
Oh, yeah, my Venus star
Or
point journey.
yes.
Sorry. Like my brain is scattered half the time. But yeah, so the Venus star point. Okay, so Venus star points basically every 8 years it repeats this pattern. And if you draw it on a chart, it looks like it looks like a star, basically, with petals. And so it's common. Every one of us has a Venus star point. You can look it up by several different websites, but you can go to it and basically see when the last time Venus conjoined with the sun prior to your birth. Okay, so that's your Venus star point. Mine just so happens, I was born in 1980, and the one prior to that was in Gemini, right? So every 8 years I go through these themes. Well, this time, and let me just rephrase one more thing. Venus goes retrograde, and that's when she hits her Cazimi to the sun, and that activates the star point. Well, this one, she's retrograding once she hits Aries. And so this Venus star point happens to hit on Miriam's star point. And I was like, okay, well, this repeats cycles from every 8 years. And we
Mm.
were looking back. So that would have been what years?
It was 2001.
2017,
Oh yeah.
2017, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say
2001.
nine?
And then
Yeah, 2001
1993.
and then 1993. What was
Yeah.
going on? So if you're wondering what Venus is up to these days, I mean, we know that she's swimming in Pisces right now.
She
Pisces
loves it in
energy.
Pisces.
Yeah, she's going to be
Loves it.
she's going to be meeting up with Saturn and getting quite serious. Saturn's pretty serious.
No,
And
dude, she took off in front of Saturn today.
she already did. She's already
She's
passed
out
it.
front, man. She's
But
like,
this, right,
uh-huh.
right. So anyways, like we were just thinking about, what themes are happening and for both of us, it's kind of
Right.
weird.
Yeah.
How we were paired together is really weird because there's so
Yeah.
many similarities in our
Yeah.
lives and
Just
what we've gone
experienced.
through in
Yeah.
life and where we're at now. Like
Just
it's so uncanny. And the things that you mentioned that happened during those cycles were literally the same ones that happened to me within 3 months. And I'm
yeah.
like, oh great. Well, this time we're on the other end of it, I think.
Right.
We're on the pretty point.
No, I'm like really grateful. It's almost like Pluto left Capricorn, and the 2 times that Pluto's moved into Aquarius now. Aquarius is over my 5th house. So,
my 11th.
which is opposite each other. So we're shaking
we're
hands
we're
across the
flip-flop
wheel,
charts. Yeah.
which is badass. But the Aquarius energy, it's usually look, the first decan. Let's talk about that first decan, please, because I think that the first decan of Aquarius can be a little rough. The first 10 degrees of Aquarius. Let me throw in just on the front end any first 10 degrees. I usually think 12. The first 12 degrees of any zodiac sign is the worst because you're kind of powerless. You have this tool that's in your hands and you're watching how everybody else is doing it, and then you may rush in because it is an Aries ruled energy that comes in with that first decan, and you go up each degree, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And it's the first time that your soul has been in this situation with that tool. And you have to use all 12 of some type of the zodiac energy with that new tool. Did I explain that correctly? It's almost like I've never been on this obstacle course. I have run with a pugil stick before through the woods, but now I have an obstacle course, and at each stop, the first one will be Aries. Here's an Aries event. The second stop is a Taurus event. Now use the same pugil stick. Now go to the third step. Now use the same pugil stick. That's how the video game is kind of set up to me. You
Yeah,
get to
to me,
13 degrees, and now it's that, oh, okay, run with it then. You're
it's
ready.
so I just had this like rush come in and about it, and the what you were specifically talking about, it reminds me of uh like the whole Gemini being elementary school,
Yes.
and Virgo, it's kind of like middle school, Capricorn up well, I guess it'd be third, fifth,
Yeah.
ninth, that little weird axis. But it's like, the step up from elementary school in Gemini
Yes.
to, high school near around what, Leo,
Virgo,
and
yeah. I would put high
Virgo,
schoolers in Virgo.
and then
Mhm.
university up in Sag by,
Yeah.
Capricorn, where you like graduate and get your degree and move on
Yeah.
to, yeah, sorry.
If you guys want to know where I pulled that info from, it's from the evolutionary astrologer Mark Jones. He's got a book. It's green on the cover. I have it somewhere. But Mark Jones is the one that taught me that information, just to let you know. Look, she's writing
Mhm.
it down. Are you writing it down?
No, I
You
wasn't, but
lie.
I
Lie.
know all about some Edmund Jones.
She's like, she's like, how do you
No,
know?
actually, like I was just looking, like the first deacon in Aquarius is Venusian. It,
Mm.
it is.
Which any planet, here's a gift from Stephen Arroyo. Any planet, well, no, I lie. If you have Saturn attached to your Uranus, there will be a strong anti authoritarian sort of energy coming from this person, depending how it's set up. But the topic will be anti authoritarian. If you have Venus or Mars attached to your Aquarius, Uranus stuff, it can do terrible things to your love life. Terrible things to your love life, because this is someone who has entered into a lifetime where they want freedom with their Venus, or they want freedom with their Mars. And so you could be in a relationship with this person for like 13 years, and then they just wake up one day and they're like, yep, I'm done. And they just out the door. If you have the
Power card.
moon, which we're going to have a transit with the moon touching Uranus, it's coming up. If the moon touches Uranus in any way, this is a fight or flight experience where you just want to run away from home. So that's just a little Uranus info while we talk about this.
Or
Because
just erratic energies too,
erratic,
erratic emotional
erratic,
energies.
like you
Yeah.
want to throw everything away in your closet, your kids' closets,
And
and
you're
just
not scared to do it.
you're not scared at all
You're
to do it.
confident about it.
You're like, I'm out of here. It's done. Really wonderful. It's a good energy. That's why we talk about this stuff, is so you guys can take the power back. But the first decan of Aquarius, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Challenging, because you have some sort of individualistic piece about a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's 11th house sextile to the first house. And the person is saying, I am different. And I'm different. So for the first 10 degrees, this person's kind of yelling at people.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I said I'm different. And everybody's like, okay.
I am unique. Recognize.
Right? You recognize me.
Respect my authority.
Respect my authority. And as soon as they hit Aquarius 13 degrees, and I cannot tell you, I've been waiting for this moment for so many years. I think I'll write a song. When
Want to hear
this
about it? Here it goes. Here it goes.
when this Pluto that just moved into Aquarius, it's moving up on 2 degrees already. When Pluto gets to 13 degrees, it's out of that phase of respect my authority. It's out of that.
Mm,
Now we have given the car keys to Pluto and we're saying, drive, bitch. It's your turn to drive.
wow.
So that particular date we can find that date, and Heather and I will talk about that, you know, one day. But it is coming. So right now Pluto's at 2 degrees and the sun is actually going to be moving up and making a very, very powerful attachment to Pluto in Aquarius, because when you put the sunshine on the electricity, I don't know what it is that you get, but it's probably loud,
Ooh.
like really loud, I would say.
Mm. Sounds heavy metal to me.
That's what I love about you, man. You're all rock and roll, man. It took me so long to find that piece of my identity, years to find out the piece of my identity, like who is Miriam, and to find the things that, like the colors I would wear, and years, right, of
Yeah.
trying to find that, because my Pluto's in the first house. So I don't know who the F's going on. It changes every 10 days. But the rock and roll piece, yeah, Miriam's rock and roll and 1970s Hawaiian surfing, beach. It's that vibe. And I'm like, yeah, Heather could fit in that vibe. So I'm dragging her to the beach.
I wish it keeps snowing here. I'm so ready for the snow to
I
melt.
know, right? The weather's
Snowing
been,
again today.
I
It's
think
not
Baba
normal.
Vanga and Edward Casey prophesied about the weather, climate stuff changing.
Mm.
And our hearts desperately go out to all of you that are and have been a part of the fires in California.
Yeah, for sure.
Just broken heart all the way, shattered, that you guys have
Mm.
lost your homes, that you've lost all your possessions, your pictures, so many mementos that you guys have lost.
Yeah.
Our hearts are with you. And I personally, I don't know what everybody else is doing. I've been sending light and love in the way of seeing every family find the home that
Yeah.
even it fits even better, and you're much happier on the transition. Right now we're in the transfer and the transportation and the
Right.
you know but my heart is just pushing towards all of you finding exactly what fits even better.
And I
So
I would agree and add to that. So you all are being put through something that you probably never even could have imagined.
mm-mm.
Maybe you speculated on it a little bit, but for those of you that have lost everything, and or even bigger, have lost anyone, a pet, your home,
Oh
any
my
of
god,
that
right.
stuff. And if you were one of those that, and I have to say this, and I didn't tell you I was going to say this, but like, me, I know so many of you had your policies dropped like right before this happened.
Grr.
And from someone who knows the shadow and the dark pretty well, I do want you to know that there is light, and I wish you all strength and perseverance through this.
Mm.
Utilize your resources. Don't be too proud.
Yeah,
People are willing to help, and
right.
humanity, when it's events like this that expose things that aren't right,
Yeah,
trust that Pluto and these movements and these transits that we're having are going to help give you the strength to fight against what you guys were basically like cheated out of. You paid those policies for years, and
yeah, oh my god,
all of a sudden it's just
it's
nothing but
ripped out from underneath you, and right when you need it the most.
have faith.
So
Have faith,
have
because ultimately the good, I guess, that could come out of this, and I do wish you all the strength to stand up for yourself, stand up for your rights, and to keep moving forward, even if that means relocating, because
yeah,
quite honestly, the cost of living there is
was
insane,
outrageous. Yeah.
and they're gouging prices and stuff. Go west, like a little bit. Move, travel as much as you can. Cost of living is still horrendous everywhere. Miriam and I both found that out this summer, randomly,
Yeah.
unexpectedly,
Ripped out from
because of
underneath us.
moves. Yeah, both
Yeah.
of us had to move, and it's the lesson behind it is still, no matter what we still got this. We still got our faith, we can still have reasons to smile. And I wish you all many reasons to smile and plenty of
Yes.
healing. So sending my love
The
from
crappy
Wichita.
part is that tomorrow you will wake up. That's the crappiest part. When had my first Saturn return and everything was ripped away from me, that was the hardest part. Was like every day I'd still freaking wake up. I was really upset about
Mhm.
it. Um, and then eventually it turned into, but the quality of, like, if I'm going to keep doing this thing, like waking up, the quality of my life matters.
Yeah.
And I think right now, Texas, and it was one of the articles actually I was going to show you. Texas has officially fallen off the map as the number one migratory area, that all of the Americans that have lost with the weather, the hurricane that went ripping through the mountains, folks have stopped coming to Texas. It's no longer on the number one spot. Now it is South Carolina. Who would have thought South Carolina? That place ain't nothing but paper
We got a
factories.
beach.
And have you been to a South Carolina beach?
I was trying to see the
Shush
positive.
your
Hush.
face. Shush your face. What are you talking about? But you know what?
uh,
You can make it into a great beach. Whoever's moving there. Um, but it leads me into what we're talking about today. So it's the I have a dream,
oh,
the
yeah.
rebuilding of dreams, because today Americans celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, which it's not even on today, but okay. It's on the 15th. Um, we're gonna look. We're gonna look at his chart. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Tell you,
You look
tell
like you
you
were gonna
what.
say something.
No, I had to cough, and
Oh.
no, I'm just excited because I mean we were kind of looking at what we wanted to dive and talking about today, and we've got some news articles and stuff that we're going to talk about. But
Mm,
like it's a pretty big day in
it is a
America.
big day.
It's
The
it's
inauguration and
Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and it's the inauguration,
mhm.
and I thought it'd be fun to pull his chart up, and we were looking at the birth time. We were having a hard time
Yeah,
finding it. I mean, the Rodden ratings, which are basically like how quality a birth time is on
yeah.
astro.com, for example. Everybody just basically defaulted it to noon, but I got the ting of 8 a.m. ish, and
I plugged
we
it in.
plugged it in, and it seems to work really well
It seems to
with
work
his
really well.
personality and his story. So, he was a visionary,
Yeah,
and he was a beautiful leader that was taken way too soon, and it was in such a pivotal time. And I find it was so, in a way, he was so very Aquarian because he wanted the best for everybody, and then also
yeah,
the Pisces, obviously,
yeah. He's
of
got a
the
Pisces. That's kinda what stopped us. Was Mercury right now is in Capricorn, right?
yeah.
Um, Venus and Saturn are in Pisces, but so are his moon and Saturn, I think.
I think it
And
was Venus and Saturn.
I think it was his moon, but we stopped. We went, "Er," we were like, "Wait a minute. That's going on right now." So,
Yeah, yeah, just like his energy is definitely ringing, and
yes.
it is. Our charts don't stop when we pass away; they
No.
do keep going, and so it's kind of interesting how like current transits line up with his chart. And
Right.
we kind of compared it against to the Sibley chart for the United States, and
Yeah.
kind of
So,
noticed some
yeah, let
comparisons.
me
So
pull
let's
up the
share the chart.
chart because this is a really, I shouldn't have done that. Okay. There we go. Screen. My apologies for this first, but it has to be selected. All right. So, what we've chosen to do, sorry about Pinterest, up here in the upper left hand corner, we've got death. Oh, that's the death.
Death date. Yeah,
Okay.
we were looking.
Here's the comparison between America and Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, nobody knows his time of birth. However, We did play around with the time of birth. Just know that this birth of time is a guess,
Yeah.
but it show does fit purty. So we kept it. And this is what it looks like. This was fascinating. In evolutionary astrology, the first thing I would parcel out are the nodes. And Martin Luther King Jr. is on the inside in blue, and America are the red planets and stuff on the outside circle. And what we do with a synastry chart is we stack them on top of each other like this. And if I zoom in, you can see the south node here and Juno. This is Martin Luther King's side of it in blue, and his is in the ninth house, ruled by Scorpio. You do the same thing with the red planets. And what we're looking for is a lineup, like over here in Capricorn. Martin Luther King Jr. was a Capricorn. There's his son. And the Pluto of America as a country is the red in the second house, too, of Capricorn. It hits Martin Luther King Jr.'s 12th house and America's second house. So it does take a little bit of practice to sit and get your eyeballs used to looking at a map like this. But once you do it often enough, it comes easier. So the nodes on the inside, south node in Martin Luther King Jr.'s ninth, MLK's ninth. It's just going to be easier that way.
To say it that way, yeah.
In Scorpio, which is power, right? And the node here seems to be in the later degrees of Scorpio, which is really badass because it means that he was allowed to pick up the tool and get to work. So if I go to the south, here's the south node would be 25. So he was 25 degrees Scorpio south node. Now, the connection between his south node in Scorpio and the country's south node in Aquarius. What is that, a square? No. It's a wide square. It's a wide square. So the challenge, and of course, Scorpio energy over America's 12th, we had discerned that the sixth house for Martin Luther King Jr. with his lust and what he wanted was communication with the nation, which of America, right? America is a Cancer nation.
Yeah, and I see the eighth house being the Mercury up there, and it's almost leaning to those. I know it's not Pisces, but it's almost like the subconscious thoughts, or communication. How's the word I'm looking for? Of the darker taboo subjects, because you got
Yeah,
to think we're talking about like the civil rights era, right? So wanting to be able to, he lusts to kind of go after that. Let's go after that Mercury and transform. It's, his work lusts. He lusted to change
the
the
power
topic.
dynamic
Yeah,
here.
the topic, the power dynamic, that in the way that people, go after.
Think.
Yeah, the way that
Just
they think,
why they
of
the
why
opinions.
nobody's better than anybody else. I lust to
Right.
change that.
We saw that placement in the sixth opposite his 12th.
Yeah.
The value system of Pluto in America's
Mhm.
Capricorn second house, 12th
Mhm.
house up here, south node. And we believe strongly that the past life that this is attached to is one of slavery.
Yeah.
And we see the Saturn position here in Sagittarius, right? And that's Martin Luther King Jr.'s. It's in
Mhm.
his midheaven 10th house.
Mhm.
And he's basically coming up against this injustice, his karma of a master, an owner, which would definitely be Capricorn energy, of a taskmaster, Capricorn energy, a driver, one of those people. And sort of the anger and the frustration that kind of comes down because they don't And here's the kicker. I'm just going to say this because in evolutionary astrology, we repeat every little step. When we incarnated, we're in a different time frame, I think. But we still have to touch the same things. We still
Mhm.
have to kind of meet up with the same type of people. Um, and so I'm looking at a chart like this and seeing quite possibly a past life where the ninth house here, this looks to me like perhaps he was a freed slave, you know, and he just wanted to maybe get home or something. But this patriarchal, whatever this was, the culture,
Yeah, I was gonna
Sagittarius,
say the Sagittarius, the belief systems,
yeah,
the religion. Yes.
this culture that had gripped the people, nation of America and the way they saw him. We don't know what challenges he had in that past life, challenges to work. Maybe it was difficult for him to be a provider, Capricorn energy, to become, maybe to go get one of his children. Even look where his Pluto is. His Pluto's in the fifth house, right there. Maybe he
Mm,
was trying to get his wife or his mother, his grandmother, in a past life, and just because the culture said it was one way did not make it right.
mm,
And we're in that spot right now as a global position, looking at every previous system that Capricorn had set up, every single one. I personally have been going through looking in my own shadow work of kind of looking at the culture that made me what I am today, and standing in the systems, and for my chart, for my specific lessons, and I'm questioning those social laws a lot,
mm.
and just kind of going, that may have been a social law that everybody thinks we're supposed to do, but what if it's wrong?
Yeah.
Like,
I
it doesn't fit today.
Yeah, I definitely advocate for, spiritual autonomy. You don't have to, well, not just that, but philosophical. You don't have to believe everything just because that's a narrative going on.
Right,
You can definitely, you should venture out on your own and not hold on to other people's belief systems as
right.
that's probably why if it doesn't feel right, keep exploring. But like we
But
were, look,
okay, so the 111 is on my clock right now. And
okay.
I do have something to say about this piece because as a global society, those of us that are awake or awakened or awakening or at whatever level you are at, the breaking up of this turd and all of us splattering all over the place with our individualism. The question is, when society magnetically starts coming back together without law, which is Capricorn, without law, we'd be a hot mess. So at some point, as societies come back together, the idea of idealism and freely just following your instinct is going to turn more into, I have an instinct, and let me stop and talk about, share with this person I trust next to me or my mentor or something. Let me share real quick before I take the step out, because the laws that begin to form these societies will have to one day become a new thing, a
Mhm.
new fresh thing. Pluto sweeping through the social conditioning of of the world. I mean, we've been leading the world since after World War II. Terribly, I might add. That's an opinion.
A facade, yeah.
It is. But did you know that America has Neptune in the ninth house in Virgo? The dream. Everybody
Yeah,
wants to the dream of America, and then they get here and they find out this ain't no effing dream.
yeah, the American dream, right? Yeah. And
They
I was just looking at his chart over here and just that that if we're right on that time and he is a 12th house sun, I think that would be very kind of almost poetic. As the most beautiful people in my life have the 12th house sun, and you're one of them.
I know. I really do.
It's like we all have a message, and it really has to do,
I
you
have
guys
a
all have a
12th house
message,
sun.
and it really has a lot to do with, you know, shining light, but you guys are also really good at keeping your private lives private, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
But there's a seriousness. It's like the magic carpet. I know I say magic, serious and magic carpet ride. Go
It's the second
figure.
time this morning.
Whatever.
Magic carpet ride.
But it's like hovering above and being able to have a bigger perspective. It's like for the whole, I think that's so beautiful. And the fact that he was standing up against that powerful Pluto
Mm,
that's in America's second house. That's so, and in Capricorn, like that's standing up for that's standing up for your beliefs and for your soul,
yeah,
basically,
your soul.
against, you figure Pluto and Capricorn at them in degrees was pretty capitalistic,
It
like
is.
but
It's
he
so appropriate. Look at what you're saying. Second house, which is value system. This is America on that
yeah,
side,
yeah.
affecting America's second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth houses, ninth.
Mhm.
I mean, this is the whole second and third quarter of the chart. And it's an inside job. And if you look at all of Martin Luther King Jr.'s planets, the majority of them fall in the bottom of the chart as well. So his insides and what he had to process personally, he brought to the table eventually. And we see
Mhm.
that the sun and the Pluto right up here. A message that was spoken in a past life right here with the South Node and the South Node of America, Mercury of MLK. And
Mhm.
this message wasn't received the first time. We see that as we jump forward, and
Mhm.
Heather pointed this out. Notice the Mars of America and the Mars of MLK, they line up perfectly. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And it
Yeah, and
would,
the relationship. So it's in his fourth house of home and America's seventh house of relationship. And
yeah,
I just love that it's in Gemini,
like what
the duality of it.
the individualism, the freedom of an individual, because that's what happened on the inside of MLK's home. That's how he saw himself as free. And it
Mhm.
hits America's Gemini Mercury or Gemini Mars and kind of goes, this relationship between the two of us, it's something's not clicking. It's not clicking. It's not right.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of it is the Pisces energy. Look at the Pisces energy over here.
Yeah,
You're
he's got
right. Venus.
the moon square his own Mars and moon square America's Mars, right?
So
So,
there is that struggle, but he's got, you're right, the Venus and the moon and the series in Pisces.
mhm.
That's MLK's chart in his first house.
That is so true. I mean, look at how
Huge.
compassionate and empathetic and creative he was.
Very creative.
Religious too. He was
He
very
knew
much
God.
into
Let's put
church.
it that
Yeah.
way. Yeah, he knew
Yeah.
God. He knew God definitely.
Yeah. And
I
it
think
was
the establishment of this look at America's
his vest. I'm sorry.
like he
Wow.
was I know, right? Look at Priapus, him pushing for America to do something better. Right there's the
With the
Venus and
value
Jupiter.
system,
Do
values,
better right there. And
beliefs.
he
Yes.
pushed and pushed. I don't think he would have quit, man.
Well, Jupiter rules contracts, right? Too. Like, wouldn't that be wanting somebody's rights written down,
It is
changed,
it is
amended?
your place of rights. It is your place of amendments. It is it is men
Hmm.
writing social law into law because
And
it
that's
starts
in
in Sagittarius in the ninth house. That is
this.
the law where law is written and negotiated is
Hmm.
in the ninth house. When it
Hmm.
hits the 10th house, it's put into law. That's Capricorn energy. Like I'm going to enforce it. I'm going to bring it in. We're going to start policing up the area, people. Let's
Mhm,
start policing up the area. But
mhm.
that push, so we knew going into his chart with Priapus in the fifth, Pluto in the fifth, that is a lot of personal power.
Yeah,
Like he
wow.
knew all I have to, if I get up and I do something, just do something radical. Notice the connection, the square. I'm going to
Mhm,
have to Priapus fifth house square the second house and do
mhm,
something radical. In his second house, it could have been his home. It could have been how he lived, his family, his children, his career. I'm going to have to do something radical in my career that is different and unheard of. And look at America's response: lust.
mhm. Yeah.
Lust in
Lust can be good
Aries.
or bad, just so
In
you
Aries.
know. Lust can be good or bad, and it's in the 4th house, America's 4th house,
And it kind
right?
of, this is the voice of the nation, the fourth house is how we see ourselves.
Mhm.
So America's lust, they must have been really hungry for that idea, like
Yep.
starving for that idea
And
because
look,
America did.
then you look at the Chiron. So his Vesta, Phaethon, and Prosperina
Yeah.
are conjunct America's Chiron. And he valued, like, so he, in the second house is what we value, right?
Yeah.
So America, the IC, if you're noticing there, is that's our 4th house in
What is
America.
valuable? Yeah.
And so his sole desire, burning flame, was to
Get people to
work
see.
on America's wound,
Yeah.
which was racism, separatism,
Yes.
all the things, and like restructure it, make
Change
it.
how you see yourself.
Yes,
Change
yeah.
it.
I think that's so beautiful.
I know,
I,
right?
I do. And oh, I cannot help but see that his north node in the 3rd house.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So I'm just going to go there, guys. So North Node in the 3rd house is communication, right? It's you think maybe Gemini themes, and
Neighbors,
it's
siblings.
in America's house of work and health, okay, or
Yeah.
daily rituals or whatever. Well, his North Node is connected in Taurus of the 3rd house, connected to America's sixth house Lachius. And Lachius is
There.
notorious as being one of the severs of the cord, the one with the snippers that snips the cord of life in a way.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening to him, right? Obviously, he was assassinated. He was shot. I know I'm kind of moving forward. Are you okay with that, or do you have anything else
No,
you want
no,
to talk
no,
about in this
no.
chart?
I could
Okay.
talk about this chart for a while.
Yeah, I know, me too. And I know we have other stuff to cover, so I'm trying to be a good
What?
girl. So
Here,
like
yay.
moving into it, like if you think about Taurus, okay, so Taurus is the neck, the lower jaw, right?
Mhm.
If you think about the anatomy and astrology and the anatomy, and he was shot in the neck
Yeah.
and through his bottom of one of his
Yeah.
jaws. And so that just hit it to me that he like that's how he got wounded. He was shot. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
led to his demise. But I think that that's really interesting that his north node was right there. So I mean, like it goes into those faded kind of things. And interesting also was I going to mention that his
Mars.
yeah, well, the Mars and the Mars trining, where's it at? America's Neptune and Lilith up in the ninth house. I cannot help but think with Neptune and Lilith in the ninth house of Virgo
It's a
that the
square.
first
Yeah, that square.
that square down
Yeah.
to Mars was somebody who really had a delusional angry disposition belief system and thought that theirs was right and his was wrong and straight shot him, right?
Yeah.
He was in, where did I say, Mississippi? um Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, but going
Memphis. He was
through
in
it.
Memphis,
He was in
Tennessee.
Memphis at a
Yeah,
hotel, and he was out
in a
on
hotel,
the balcony, standing
which could be
outside.
considered 3rd because you're in close range, which is Gemini energy. You're close enough to be quote unquote neighborly, you know? So there's a short distance. It would be like the 6 of Swords in the tarot cards.
Let me see his condition of a Sag.
Well, it was also curious in the past position, we have Pluto in the Sun, South Node of Mercury, and that Mercury definitely can be 3rd house because we link up the ruler of
Mhm.
the 3rd, which is Mercury. So
Oh,
also we
yeah.
have Lachesis. Now look how on the past life, South Node,
Ah, and North
Lachesis
Node.
is attached to America's South Node.
That
And there we
look, it's
have
flip-flop. Look,
Mercury.
it's flip-flop,
And look,
Miriam.
down here it's flip-flopped.
Yeah, this was a whoa, that was
Like this is
faded
one of
AF.
those it's and this is one of those moments where we get to show you that you have to touch the same thing you did before.
Oh, wow, that gave me goosebumps.
You have to do it before. If I was doing just a past life reading on this person's chart, we'd be able to find it because of patterns like that. And notice the sun is with Pluto. Pluto in social conditioning. Um, many of us, there is probably not one soul on this planet right now that went without ever being a slave. We've all touched that area. And whether it's being a slave to your job or being a slave to your emotions, being a slave to your children, being a slave to your car or your vehicle,
And he wanted to cut that.
he wanted to cut that.
He wanted to cut America's way of being. That's the lackeus, the
Yeah.
scissors. Just think, phew,
So this
right?
is his shot to do that, except touching everything. Notice how um, the Mars down here touch his identity, and there's that Gemini piece, and
Hmm.
here is Mars. There's the bullet,
Yeah. Then you've got the suddenness of Uranus in
the
US's
bullet.
house
Now this is
squaring.
another look. Look where the Saturn piece is for America. It's trining Saturn, trining America's Gemini, trining Libra. And this energy here, it's almost as if it reminds us that we do have a relationship with our nation. National karma is a thing, and this is a good example of it. It is so blatantly obvious that this is national karma, but
Yeah,
we
it's a,
do Libra. We
mhm,
come into relationship with our possessions. We come into relationship with our car. There's a relationship to your coffee machine.
mhm.
Girl, I got a good relationship with my coffee machine, I telling you. I give me
That's
some
right.
coffee,
That's
right?
right. We've got
This
relationships everywhere.
relationship thing is not always a lover or an enemy.
Mm.
Sometimes it's just a relationship. So go ahead. What were you going to say? I'm sorry. I had to point that
No,
out.
it's okay. So what I was looking at was, when you think about matters of passing, okay, so usually that has to do with 12th house, 8th house, and 4th house. 4th house is, the IC, it's the lowest part of the chart, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I think of. And so, like the 12th house, his Mercury and Lacus being conjunct America's South Node in
Mhm.
Aquarius. This was something when somebody is taken out the way that he was. I'm not going to say the word to get us flagged or anything.
Right.
So if you trine it down, a trine is typically like an easy, smooth transaction, right? Like an easy energy. Well, it trines down to his Uranus, to America's Uranus, right?
Yeah.
So a sudden boom, right? A sudden
Yeah.
action got, it was an easy way to take somebody out,
Yeah.
hidden, unseen. They didn't know that this was
Right.
perpetuated, right? Trining
Right.
up to, and that's 12th house to 4th house, and then there's a trine from Mercury Lachius up
Uh-huh.
to his
Right
8th house
here.
where his Atropos is.
But
And
look where
Atropos is
America is. Yes, tell them what Atropos is.
Atropos is so Lachius is the sever, Atropos
Mhm.
is death.
Right? And
And
his death benefits the relationship of
the people and their
Saturn.
relationship
This is
with
America's
authority.
authority.
Hmm.
This is their concrete structure, their rules. And their rule was if you're not going to comply with a good relationship with America, guess what happens? I think we just figured out who did the deed.
You
Where's
don't have.
Amba? I
Yeah,
need
well,
Amba.
I
Amba.
mean, it's so what I was going to say real quick, and I'll just touch on it. We can move forward, but the whole trine aspect. So trines are easy, smooth flowing, or always, or people go always positive. I call bullshit.
Bullshit.
Okay, I call
Bullshit.
bullshit, and I call oppositions just as good as they are challenging. Right. So
Yeah.
the reason I say that is because that trine made it easy for this event to happen to him and for him to no longer be alive,
Maybe
right?
that's why his birth time is not noted anywhere on the internet.
Yeah. So anyways, like we wanted to touch on that. And we don't even necessarily have to pull the date he passed away. I think you had a chart for that.
Well, yeah, I did have a chart for that. Let me see. This was the death date, his death date, and I wanted to see how it affected America. And look, he's actually on his lucky star.
No.
His
Yeah.
midheaven, like this is lucky. It pushes America, pushes, which tells us this was the first spot that tells us there was an agreement, that there was a contract here, because
Do you?
this speaks louder than anything. Look how
Okay, my brain's going to go weird here and I'm going to puzzle you a little bit, quiz Miriam a little bit. What would holidays be? I mean, that's tradition. Is that
holidays.
Saturn? Like, because he was,
No, 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 no.
we,
Holidays are Taurus. Holidays are Taurus.
okay. I was just
Yes.
curious because,
And
he
some
has
people
his
would
own
fight me on
holiday.
that. Like, let me zoom out real quick. Yeah, I know your screen is small, but I'm
I
zooming
can
out for
zoom.
everybody else.
I can
Okay.
zoom.
Some people would say that Sagittarius would hold the memories, but that's impossible because Sagittarius is always on the move. Taurus energy is where something is planted and it kind of stays. It rules traditions because the Taurus group is one of the great groups to honor as being a guardian of wealth, a guardian of possessions, a guardian of a house, because the Taurus will hold the memories, the pictures, the
Oh my
frames on
gosh.
the wall.
So that
They'll
makes so
honor
much
it.
sense.
Yeah,
It's sextile his ninth house moon conjunct Venus, Jupiter, and the sun of belief systems and
the Vesta.
Cancer
Oh, the
home.
Mars, his Mars. Yeah, his
The
Mars and his
Tor
Cancer.
the Taurus sextiles Cancer is what I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
Oh,
From
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
7th to the ninth.
To the 7th to the 9th. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Like
It is beautiful.
I was just oh.
It is beautiful. And then I said, what would we need to put Heather's chart? Here's Heather's
Oh,
chart up
you're
against
such a
MLK.
you're such a
No, no, no.
dork.
That's America. And I was like, dude, we need to try this out. Was
You're
this the
such a
one?
dork.
I think this was you. Here's Heather with Martin Luther King.
You have
And
me on the inside, don't you?
yeah, Heather's
Like,
on the inside and Martin Luther King Jr. is on the outside. And check Heather out. Heather's got her Venus on his Pluto, right? Like her IC, her fourth house, the way that she sees herself. So moving up the chart, here's his Neptune, right? And like she sees his vision and
I
wants to
do.
talk about it. She also, as a Virgo, she wants to continue teaching and putting that pattern out into the world. His vertex, like the power of his message, gets fed by her with Jupiter in the sixth, that's service, and Juno, right? She wants to feed that and she wants to fly the message. This is her on an airplane flying that good message of Martin Luther King Jr. out the door.
I,
In the opposite of this, we see his 12th house Pisces energy. Um, oh, his 12th house is here, the Pisces.
I'm on the inside, yeah.
Oh, you're on the inside. I'm sorry. That was dyslexic for a second. Look at all his good, loving mama love, his mama home love. If you have any of the softer, like this is all soft energy in Pisces.
He
This
was
is like
he was
the
in tune
most
with his feminine energy.
feminine energy. Like he must have had some really wonderful female people around him his whole life. Because this
Yeah,
is like women honor God.
right.
God should be in the home. God will
Hmm.
bring abundance into the home through the divine feminine energy. This is where the abundance truly comes from. And that abundant energy needs to be kind of spread out like peanut butter all over the world. Her south node up against his palace. This is the place where he would defend and fight. Let's get the degree on that because that's hilarious. Palace. I am. I'm just a nut. We're gonna roll with it.
All right.
Palace.
What's the
Wait,
degree?
the palace for his degree. Is it his degree?
Is he is it
You're that
21 or
side. Never
22?
mind. 2139.
So 22.
2139 in the Sabian.
Oh wait, are we on wait, what were you looking at? My south node? So that's 22 Aquarius.
No, I was
Okay.
looking at his.
No, I understand. Well, yeah, I
His
just
is
was
at 21. Yours is at 22. Right?
my south node's at 20. That's why you were moving so fast and you covered up the chart. I couldn't see it.
Dude, I'm fast. I'm a fast person.
Jeez Louise, slow down,
Your
Turbo.
south node
Is at
and
20.
his is at 21.
So you round up to 22, and I
That's
just looked
right.
at the Sabian. A rug is placed on the floor of a nursery to allow children to play in comfort and warmth. That's by Dane Rujar.
Okay, so we're going up to 22. A rug placed on the floor for children. Now, this is Linda Hill's Sabian Oracle book. You can purchase it on Amazon.com. Linda Hill is a beautiful friend down in Australia. I have sat with her. She is also an astrologer and gives readings, but you can definitely go through Amazon.com to find her book. So we're using her book to look this degree up, especially if you're into hermetics. Heather and I, we danced
Yeah.
like on a buffet of astrology stuff. And this
Mhm.
is one of them. So lately, just to save time, I've been reading some of the comments that Linda Hill put on the left. So, a rug placed on the floor for children to play on. Here Skug lies snug as a bug in a rug. That was by Benjamin Franklin. This one's a Bulgarian proverb. It says, if you let everyone walk over you, you become a carpet. By Rita Rudner. It says, my husband and I are either going to buy a dog or have a child. We can't decide whether to ruin our carpet or ruin our lives. That's beautiful. This
Oh, I
next
like Al Franken. I like Al
Al
Franken.
Franken, his quote is, "It's easier to put on slippers than to carpet the whole world."
That's right.
By this quote's by Ambrose Bierce.
Boundary.
Boundary is a noun. In political geography, an imaginary line between two nations, separating the imaginary rights of one from the imaginary rights of the other.
Mm-hmm.
This quote's by Edmund Burke. There is a boundary to men's passions when they act from feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but none when they are under the influence of imagination. Damn, that burns so
That's
hard. That
beautiful.
burns. Okay, Marion Howard says life is like a blanket, too short. You pull it up and your toes rebel. You yank it
Mm-hmm.
down and shivers meander about your shoulder. But cheerful folks manage to draw up their knees up and pass a very comfortable night.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I mean, like, It's like, so his palace, which is the strategic warrior in Aquarius, so it was all about rebellion and community, right?
Yeah.
In my South Node, so that particular degree point, it's kind of funny because it just reminds me. You think about them saying children, right? So when you're
Oh,
children, you're not tainted by the world's input as far as belief systems, right?
right.
You don't know, you don't care what color the kid is that's sitting next to you. There's
Yeah.
no discrimination,
You
is what
just
I'm
want to
getting at.
know, are you willing to play? That's
Yeah.
it.
Let's sit down on comfortable rug. We're all on the
Right.
same ground. You're not on
Right.
the dirt, and I'm not, on pins and needles. We're all on the rug. We're children. We're playing, young at heart, and community. And
Yeah.
a general kindness for humanity. I think that's so beautiful. And it's interesting. I just think it's so funny and cute that you pulled this up because like I very much I have an Aquarius moon, as you can see, and I very much love everybody. I do. I mean, I
Yeah,
could get.
look at your moon right here squaring his Jupiter and his Chiron. It's almost if he's pulling you here, pulling your palace and saying the wound is still there. We
Yeah,
still need you,
we got work to
pull.
do.
We got work to do. Can I put my chart up against his?
Holy hell, his Chiron is exactly conjunct my palace.
Yes, babe. Where have you been?
Oh, we were looking at the top of the chart on the nodes.
Look at the
I
wound is in Taurus.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
your palace is pointing out his wound of safety, security, you know?
And
God, babe.
His Neptune on my sun.
Red, where's Neptune?
Beautiful.
Down here, all right?
Mhm.
I see the
Yeah.
vision. I lit the vision up. I see the pattern that we're not done. And I
I
don't
haven't.
mind being an Aquarius moon if I
Mm-mm.
get to kick some ass. Here's
That's
Mars.
right. That's right.
Let me kick.
Hey, my Mars is opposite. Oh, his Mars is opposite my Neptune in the ninth.
Look at the sextile there. There's a sextile between your Pluto and Mars sextiling over
Mhm.
here to that setup that makes you mad. It just makes you mad.
Oh, yeah, I get
And
really mad
she
when
comes out the
people.
gate, right? Like I got to do something. I got to do something. Okay, let me do
Yeah.
mine
That's
cuz I
probably
want
why,
to
like, when
see.
you heard me talking about the fires in California and giving that message to you guys, because I advocate very much so for people's rights, and, having that extinguished the way that it was is not cool. And I really hope you guys stand up. But I too, dear, have a dream. And so I think that this was a very important man.
Mine
Oh,
is not as cool. Mine is not as cool as yours
your
on his.
chirons are almost conjunct.
I bet they are. I bet
Yeah.
they are.
Knowing you, yes, I do
Yeah,
get
I
that.
bet they are.
Let me
Um,
see.
South Node,
Vertex and
his
Mercury.
Vesta, his luck, and my vertex says I want to change it. This is kind of crazy though, because it
Yeah.
hits my seventh house, his second house, body, identity, Aries, hits my descendant, that's a seventh, and squares the mission, the missile, really, to
His
push.
Priapus is on your Jupe.
Oh,
Oh.
girl, you ain't done yet. Throw me back in that fight.
I love that Priapus is on your MC. That is so
I have
cool.
been struggling with that in my shadow work right now. The past life that one of them that I'm going through right now and trying to clean up is being a cav soldier. I was a cavalry soldier in the army. I was with the 407th Squadron. That was my first assignment in Korea. Um, that was the first one. And the second one, I was part of the first CAV, 622 Aviation Brigade. And then I went back, well, no, it was 625 Aviation Brigade, first CAV at Fort Hood. And then I went back to Korea again, and I was part of the 222 Aviation out in Uijeongbu. And if you're a soldier and you've been to Uijeongbu, then you and I both know that at 6 o'clock, it's pointless to be down outside of the gates, because that's when all the juicy girls come out and you
The
get
Bam Bam
bored.
girls, Bam
The
Bam
Bam Bam
girls.
girls, man, they had levels too. Um, Very interesting. All right, let's step out of MLK, but very grateful to celebrate his
Yeah,
work
yeah.
because apparently we stand for it.
Oh, one more thing I saw really neat because I was looking like maybe for interesting facts about him.
Well, look at.
Um,
Wait a
it says
second.
it says
Wait.
that you wait a second. I was talking first.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Oh.
sorry. My bad. Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm gonna pull out my Priapus. Hold on just a second. No.
No, 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 no. Nobody needs to see that. You put that away now. No, stop.
Oh,
You
he
stop
was
that.
into he liked to shoot pool and he loves Star Trek.
What? Martin Luther King
Random.
Jr.?
Yeah.
My heart just burst with
I
happiness.
thought you would like that because you always talk about Star Trek.
Look at his midheaven down here in Sag. Here's his Saturn. Pings, goes up to my sun and Vesta.
Yeah.
That's my body. It goes ping, and this other one goes ding, and there's my Saturn and Venus hitting his Neptune.
And it's squaring your ninth to put it out there.
That's really weird. But I will tell you, this Saturn position in the 11th, it really blessed me with wonderful, beautiful people all over this country. I have met so many wonderful yous and sat with you guys and met you guys and sometimes slept in your houses or ate at your table. Um, America as a whole, we are good people. The ones that get shown are the ones, I guess news people need to have some sort of content that is exciting or riles people up or does something like that.
We'll have
But
to
on the
share our
whole,
chart. We'll have to share our chart
like
together.
America, the people of America, really good people. Really good people. I'm not making that up. These people will pull over. I think there was a car wreck here and somebody in the community. Oh no, that's what happened. There was a car wreck. 3 people pulled over to help this guy, right? And then I'm in the grocery store. They're scanning all the stuff, putting it away. And somewhere across the store, another person finishes and he's moving out the doors and he turns around and he starts singing very, very loudly, God bless America, land that I love, in the grocery store.
Really?
And everybody started singing it together, like in the grocery store. Stand
Aw.
beside her and guide her. Americans are loud, we are random, but it comes with a lot of joy because we have an Aquarius moon. America has an Aquarius moon.
I know. I
We
love
don't
that.
give up. We will give you a hug. Come in. Just let me love you.
Just don't stay very long. No, I'm just kidding.
What is that's your Aquarius moon?
That's my
I mean,
Aquarius moon. My Aquarius moon is, oh, hi, I love you. Bye.
go away.
I'm gonna go isolate to be
Blake,
alone
I
again.
love you. Go away.
We should show our chart sometime so people know how right hand, left hand we are. We are like each other's other halves. It cracks me up.
It's bad. It's beautiful, but it's bad. Okay, so we did have a tremendous amount of
News.
because that's what we're looking at right now. Please let me share some archaeology stuff real quick.
Please do.
Please. Please. Some of the stuff in archaeology that's been coming out, I can't with this. I just can't. Sorry about the screen, you guys. Let me read the title first. Let me hide that. It says archaeologists, this is by Popular Mechanics. Archaeologists found 115,000-year-old human footprints where they shouldn't be. Fossilized footprints in Saudi Arabia show off human traffic on the cusp of a subsequent ice age. Like carbon dating, scientists use isotopes and context clues to calculate the approximate age of fossils. These human prints were surrounded by animals, but not hunted animals, indicating humans were just thirsty. A uniquely preserved prehistoric mud hole could hold the oldest ever human footprints on the Arabian Peninsula. The 7 footprints, found amidst a clutter of hundreds of prehistoric animal prints, are estimated to be 115,000 years old. So, yeah, check that out. They're all wrong.
All I know is I just saw a flash of the poem Footprints in the Sand, and God just gave me the tingles all the way down.
Like,
That's
for
just what
real.
yeah, that's beautiful.
So I love it when they're wrong. All the time
Yeah.
they are so wrong. This one is by Popular Mechanics. Scientists found astonishing lost landforms hidden a half a mile beneath the sea. Now, this picture is worth a thousand words. If I can find the dang picture. No, that's a car. I'm sorry, you
Oh,
guys.
with all the advertisements, these websites,
I
they want to put good
know.
stuff out. They need to.
Astonishing. Here, let me see if I can't pull it up on the actual Popular Mechanics site. What was that? God bless.
I don't remember you showing me this one.
Half a mile beneath. I'm going to hit. Where is it? It might be this one. Anyway, they found a whole city under the water.
That's awesome. Some Atlantis type stuff. Huh?
Yeah, some Atlantis type stuff. And when I saw that, it was sort of like, because there are theories out there, and not to say that I don't believe it, because we never know, but there are theories that we are not the first civilization to have built ourselves up to this point, that there have been other civilizations before us. Some folks think there were 7, some think there were 2 or 3. I do know that when I was getting my geography degree, that was something that the professors did talk about, actually, was the fact that we've only drilled downwards into the skin, the surface skin layer of the earth, just a little bit. We haven't even dug far enough to see history. You know
It
what I mean?
blows. Yeah, I mean, it blows my mind when I watch. What is it? Is it Mysteries of the Unknown or something like that? That's like on Travel Channel with that Josh guy that gets to travel everywhere and
Yeah,
literally goes in with the architects, not architects, whatever. My brain's not wording today, but like
right.
digging down deep and finding ancient cities that are buried. And they literally go through with little like makeup brushes or paint brushes to scoot all the dirt off of stuff. And they're
Right.
finding. So if you think about the layers of how things get buried, it's mind blowing. It just over time, how much dirt accumulates on top of everything, burying it and hiding it forever.
Well, just know that article's out there, and it does look like, definitely looks like Atlantis. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Um, this one's crazy. Here, how to see the rare comet before it disappears for the next 160,000 years. There's a picture of the comet. And I don't know the name of this one. Oh, no, there it is. The name of this comet is C/2024 G3. So there it is, flying past the sky. And I found it, well, I don't know. It's curious because there was a comet during the early 1800s. It was red in the sky, and it stayed there for, like, 7 to 9 months, and when I saw that, I was like, "God bless, that's mu" it had to have looked like that, streaking across the sky. The comet will set 35 minutes after the sun at local sunset and will be positioned about 7 degrees, almost directly above the sun. So, beginning about 10 minutes after the sunset, slowly scan or sweep along the west to southwest horizon with binoculars to try to see the comet. As an astrologer, I wonder if it has a meaning.
That's right.
Hmm.
And what's its tail doing? Is its tail splaying? Is its tail twirling?
No, it's kind of crazy how even the philosophical projection of that would be this thing's chasing after the sun. Like the sun is like, nope, we're going this way, and you can come with us or not, you know.
Right.
And the comet's like, but wait for me. Um, look, check these out. Magnificent murals on Roman era Israeli tombs unearthed and open to the public. I thought that was cool.
Wow.
The Kim Park. I don't know if you're fascinated by Rome. Are you fascinated by Rome?
I am all of it. Rome, Egypt, Tibet. I want to go see all of them.
Are
I
you
want to go see,
serious?
yeah, I want to go see all of the architecture and history and feel it. I want to feel it.
I want to be in that space with it. I
Yeah,
just thought that was a cool one that they're letting people, because in a lot of times, they don't let
yeah.
people near stuff like that. Look, a shrine from the Bible sealed by Jesus's ancestor opened after 3,000 years. See, and this is my whole thing with this. Like, how you gonna know?
How do you
How you gonna
know?
know? Sorry.
Yeah, I think carbon dating is only so
Oh,
accurate.
yes, that's the reason why I wanted to open this up. Carved rock. You see these carvings right here, and that's first century Christians. Look at it in lower left map right there. You see
Uh-huh.
the dots and the
Yeah,
V's, right? Upside down
yeah.
V's. Those types of markings that people do, and then they attach a meaning,
Mhm.
a life meaning to the symbol.
Yeah.
It's a Gemini Sagittarius sort of setup
It's like
where
sigils.
it like sigils, right?
Yeah.
That eventually we attach enough meaning to the symbol that it starts turning into a language. And so
Mhm.
here you have first century Christians that are putting particular markings with meanings on their floor.
Mhm.
And then I stand in the corner, right? And I see regular people that could have been from back then walking
Mhm.
into this area and like going through that little door, like they'd have to squat.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, get down on your knees. You're
Wow,
gonna crawl
yeah.
through this. It looks like a water park slide. I don't know
Well,
what
and I
that
mean,
is.
that picture before right there on the floor, it looked like maybe some sort of,
Toilet.
yeah, I was gonna say that looks like a water system, that square around it, like, that's
Yeah,
carved in. Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
toilet. Water would run this way down some
Mhm.
sort of little culvert. But yeah, go down by the toilets. There's a door. Hey, all you gotta do is go down by the toilets. There's this little door, but you get down on your knees, right next to the toilet.
Jesus.
Is that what I think it is? They have a word for that. Um, they shut up.
Talking about the
Ah,
bidet.
right.
Who's got a
Oh, wow.
bidet? What is that?
Yeah, these included
Oh,
okay,
those are
these are jars.
ornaments.
Yeah, they're ornaments, loom weights, scarabs, grinding stones. Yeah,
Mm,
that's, like, really cool.
yeah, that is
Like,
cool.
I'm bored. I'm gonna sit down here and carve this out of rock. That was probably done by a teenager, right? Scientists discover Roman mistake that lowered the IQ across Europe 2,000 years ago. Like, what?
Repeatedly being attacked by and mauled by lions in the
Right?
Colosseum, maybe?
Crucifixions? Maybe it's crucifixions. Have you thought of that? The Romans had a thing for lead. Oh, they're
I
the
was gonna, oh my
guy.
gosh, I did not even read that. And I thought,
They're the
what if their metal helmets were made out
guys.
of lead? And
Oh,
then you
that leads
said it.
us into our
Oh
next
my
segment.
gosh. I
The
love
next
that.
segment we thought that was so cool. The one that you picked up with the metals.
Oh yeah, metals and blood. I don't even know where it
Metals
came
and
from.
blood. RH. We were looking at RH.
It was a reel I came across, and it was talking about, there's blood types,
Yeah.
and this guy was talking about how some of us have
Plastic.
iron blood and some of us have copper in our blood. And it got me to thinking. I don't know how real true it is, but it got me to thinking about how I have always had an issue with energy. My energy, like blowing light bulbs, setting off alarms when I walk into stores. That happened to me more so when I was pregnant with my
Yeah,
20 some
like
year
if
old
let me
year
pull up
kid.
your chart so they can understand. I'm going to pull up your chart and
But I
just
was,
do so that this electricity thing you can show them your little electricity part. This is Heather's chart
but
and
it got me to thinking about that, like, because it was, some of it talking. I wonder, like, if people are more magnetic than others, like, even when you talk about compatibility, I don't know what got me into that weird thought, but yeah.
yeah,
Look at you
the
showing my
Uranus in Scorpio right there
look at you
with
showing my
lust.
nudes.
But it, my nudes, quit
That's about
showing
as
off my
nude. That's
nudes,
about as nude as you can get. You guys are
right? You're gonna
seeing
see
me,
everything. But
seeing
she
my
was
birth
right.
chart.
The thing about, the metals and when I got into we were looking at the Phys.org site, this one. This is the original. It's phys.org. The article is written by the Vienna University of Technology. It's called Quantum Umbilical Cord Linked Metal and Insulator States in Many Materials Study Shows. Now, let me explain because we got down in here talking about the metals and the energy of quantum states. And I know we don't talk usually about this topic, but
Why
right
not?
now, metal, they're digging up a lot of new metals that they haven't found before. So there's that, right? We're in Pluto in Aquarius. We know that Uranus is still in Taurus, and Taurus rules rocks. Taurus rules metal at its most basic state, like ore, pulling
Hmm.
ore out of the earth. We know, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the very beginning. We know that we've had this separation, like breaking a rock, and all the stones flying everywhere, and everyone
Yeah.
identifying their own self, like, oh, okay, this is me. I know myself now very, very well. Um, but it has also created that distance between us that we were talking about,
Hmm.
where everybody's like, no, I'm an individual, Chiron transiting Aries. I'm an
Hmm.
individual. This is me, and I will fight for myself and
Yep.
advocate for myself and choose myself. And, F the world. Everybody else can F off.
Yeah.
This this new study that they just did it. This article is January 20th, 2025. That's like today. Quantum umbilical cord links metal and insulator states in many materials, studies show. So let me come down here because what they've discovered, and again, as above, right? So below,
Hmm.
as within, so without.
Yeah.
As these discoveries are coming out, it speaks a message about what's happening to the divine collective as well.
Mm.
The spirit state and the physical state always mimic each other, always mimics each other. And this article kind of gives us a little bit of an explanation of how. So, this is their discovery. a kind of umbilical cord between different quantum states can be found in some materials. Researchers at TU Wayne have now shown that this umbilical cord is generic to many materials. It is a basic principle of quantum theory.
Mm.
Sometimes certain physical quantities can only assume very specific values. All the values in between are simply not permitted by physics. This fact plays a decisive role in the behavior of materials. I'm going to explain all of this in a second. Certain energy ranges are possible for the electrons of the material while others are not. Among other things, this explains the difference between electrically conductive metals, there's that word, and non conductive insulators. It would be a lot like this: an apple can only attract an apple tree, right? A cherry can only attract a cherry tree. An armadillo can only attract
An
ants.
armadillo.
A skunk, though, a skunk can attract every mother effer up and down this highway road because we can smell that bitch
Yeah.
in all
Yeah.
of our cars. So
Yeah.
basically, what they have discovered, because I think it was just assumed that like attracts like. However, here's the change: in some things, we can attract more than just us. Think
Mm.
about it. Now, this is the paragraph that we need to be looking at for what's happening right now in the collective. It says, sometimes, however, surprising connections can arise between permitted ranges through which electrons can switch from one range to the other. One such unusual transition was discovered in 2007 in a certain copper containing material known as cuprates. Cuprates. I don't even know that
Hmm.
word.
Hmm.
Now, quantum leaps between permitted energies. An electron moving around the nucleus of an atom can only assume very specific energy values. Everything in between is forbidden. It can only switch from one permitted energy value to another permitted energy value, right? Like equals like, which is known as a quantum jump. So
Yeah.
imagine all these electrons that are spaced very equally between them, your identity and my identity. Go ahead, Heather. I'm sorry.
No, I was seeing like timeline jumps, quantum leaps. I'm watching the bands shooting out. Like that's you go ahead. This is your thing. You started going on it, so you go.
Okay, well, Professor Karsten held from the Institute of Solid State Physics at TU Wien. It's a bit more complicated with electrons in solids, where not just certain energy values are permitted, but entire energy ranges.
Ranges. Wow.
We call
Energy
them
bands.
energy bands. Now,
Wow.
hopefully, you guys have been long with us long enough with the divine collective, being awakened, knowing that we are individuals, but also knowing we're all inside of this much, much, much bigger thing. And we've been running around this whole time saying, my identity, equal space, please, equal space. But what
Hmm.
happens when we start introducing some differences? And here we have electrons in solids, in
Hmm.
solids. So, where not just certain energy values are permitted, but entire ranges, both the energy and the speed of the electrons play a role here. Think about how fast things have sped up for us.
That's the truth. Ain't that the truth? Like I'm sitting here thinking about that. Like everything's going so fast. It's
So
just
fast.
oscillating like crazy. And
So fast.
I just saw like us being inside of a snow globe as a collective, and it was being
Yeah.
shaken up like this. So there was just wow, like the energy is affecting everybody because it's got to be skipping
It
out,
is.
right? Like it's basically talking about Almost if you think about an aura,
Yeah.
it's like that. It's like auric projection.
Auric
That's
projection. Yeah.
incredible. And
Right. Now,
wow.
the electron, which would be the individual, the electron can assume different momentum values, which means that the energy also varies within a certain range. In order to move from one permitted energy range to the next, a larger portion of additional energy is required.
Okay.
True?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So we can't push in our elevation without a larger portion of energy. Now, insulators, these
Cancer
permitted
energy.
energy bands
Mhm.
are separated from each other by a wide forbidden energy range. And I know I keep talking about the spacing, but that's really what they're talking about. You're going to park your car within a certain amount of space from the car next to you. And that's the best way I can put it. Now, the bands though, the the bands, they're also have a certain amount of separation between bands. This prevents the electrons from switching from a band with low energy, in which each electron remains bound to its automatic nucleus, to a band with a higher energy, in which it could move from atom to atom through the material.
Dude, that's like high vibe, low vibe. That's
High
like
vibe,
that's like
high
your
vibe,
vibe's low. Get the fuck away from me. I'm right here. Oh my gosh.
yes.
So beautiful.
Now, also look at what it says. It can with wait. This prevents the electrons, the individuals, from switching from a band with low energy, in which each electron remains bound to its atomic nucleus, to a band with a higher energy, high vibe, in which it could move from atom to atom through the material. Through the material.
Wow. Wow.
Through
So there is a chance of ascension
the
for this.
material.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't even know if I need to explain that.
That's pretty cool.
This means that all electrons remain in place and no electric current can flow. In an electrically conductive material, on the other hand, there is no such forbidden energy range. The electrons can move easily.
Hmm.
Now, in an electrically conductive material, right? So,
Blood. It's
how
crazy.
these
That's
allowed and
crazy.
forbidden energy bands are arranged depends on the material, especially on how strong the electrons interact in this material. So we have to find a certain material to enter into so we can speed up and eventually start doing that fade on, fade off, fade on. It's going to look like a rapture happened, fade off, right? A new energy
Mercury.
band is born and remains connected by an umbilical cord. If this interaction strength is changed continuously, it can happen that one allowed energy range splits into separate allowed energy ranges. So now we just multiplied ourselves. In this case, it is particularly interesting to see what structure arises here and what possible combinations of energy and momentum result from this. Now, now we've got two bands that can split off. Sound familiar?
Mm,
Like we just separated,
yeah.
and those of us that we ascended, right?
You're talking about split Earth.
Yeah,
Wow.
split Earth. Okay, at most momentum values, the electron has to make a decision. It can only be in either the upper or the lower energy band. But there is one momentum value for which a wide range of energy values is possible. It connects both bands. Such anomalies with one momentum value, but many energy values, have been found in experiments before, but the cause initially remained unclear. Now, these dudes, These professor dudes at that university have now succeeded in showing that this phenomenon is not an exotic, isolated case, but that this umbilical cord effect is bound to occur when the interaction strength between the electrons falls within a certain range. This means that a further class of states must now be taken into account when categorizing solids. Now, my whole point of saying this is that it opens up our brain, number one, that we are mimicking everything that science is discovering right now. We're mimicking it. Sorry about that. Hold on.
It's okay.
Let
I'm
me
just
stop
getting
the
thrown
show.
like the energies of the charts and I'm seeing oppositions and stuff. Like,
We've been isolated from each other. Pluto in Aquarius is not going to let us do that anymore. Please never forget that Pluto is power, okay? Pluto is the fuel running through the line, but it's also that chemical result. When the fuel hits the injector, it goes flick like a lighter, and the combustion is an actual process, a chemical process. Now, look, when spirit starts drawing us back towards each other, everybody has had this certain idea of how the electrons are going to fit onto the energy band, right?
yeah.
But Pluto is in effing Aquarius. Expect it to get a little weird.
I want you to show me it on my chart, the electricity, because the way
It's
you
going to be
explain
weird.
it is beautiful. But yes, it is going to be weird
It's
and
going to be weird
fast
and
and really
fast.
freaking fast. Like you're going to be blinking. Like, was that real? Did I
What?
did I just dream that? Did I just see
What?
that? Yeah.
Because it's Pluto. Pluto is power. It is the strongest thing in that sign right now. And it's doing its thing. It would be like Pluto coming in, grabbing all the electricity in the room and flipping the electricity. Now, I'm just asking you as a friend, if we grabbed lightning out of the sky and flipped it, is it going to land in the same spot every single time? No.
It bans out.
It bans out and does some crazy crap and then it goes away.
Hit it and quit it. That's what I
Boom.
like to
That's
say. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding. You would with all that Scorpio in your 7th house.
No
This
comment.
is her electricity. She normally has a lot of power with her zang. She got the zang. Like really a lot of it.
You're not sharing the chart. No.
Oh, really? I'm not?
No.
It's not the first time I've done this, trust me.
It's
I
okay.
the
I
I can
trust
practice and
in
practice.
you. I have
I
faith in you.
believe the children are okay, go ahead.
No. I mean just really I attribute a lot of my electricity just with my Aquarius moon. They state like moon
Yeah.
is your body. Um pretty much. And it's ruled by Uranus, and really with that it trines down to my 6th house,
It's right
health,
down here.
my actual physical container.
Right?
But no, you say where you see my electricity at. Your explanation is more beautiful than mine.
No,
You're like, oh.
I'm not for real. I gotta all right. Um well, if you guys are watching my eyeballs, you see that I sweep the chart. I like kind of roll around. It does take practice, but when you're turning the compass this way and that swiftly, you start to pick up certain signals and patterns. So, what I see right off, the first thing I would be attracted to is that her south node sextiles over here, her south node sextiles with her ascendant line. And that past life here with the mother at the very top degrees here in the 10th house ruled by Capricorn, her mother was taken from her. and it was very fast, like, no goodbyes. I'm just gonna take you by the arm, and I'm gonna take you from your mother. This immediate sense of loss, therefore, is both angry. Here's her square point, that moves in towards her Pluto sign. There's anger right there, and anger for the other person, but also the anger at the relationship um, to her midheaven line. She has to be drugged. There's the vertex. She's being dragged by one arm by this military or authoritarian person like a police officer or Gestapo, or I don't know. But that square point at the same time, see the leniency? Her moon is lenient towards the rules. Like, this is the rules. We have to separate you out. Sorry. So when it comes to electricity over here, I would kind of piece together that it's connected to her son. So there's her little body, and she's trying to follow the steps, like follow in the steps of the person that's dragging her down the hall, dragging her somewhere. She wishes with the lust that she had enough power, right, with this seventh house person, that she could take over this damn person. She's talking or she's crying. Maybe if I cry louder down here to her fifth house, her Leo, Mars, she's crying. And if I cried louder, maybe that the power of that cry will be recognized and heard. Aries on her first house. She could have been a very small child having this done to her, to be overpowered by the rules of what another person is saying to her. Um, yeah, she's screaming, she's crying. It bounces up to the confusion in her ninth house with Neptune in Sag in her ninth. It's sort of like, what is this new social order where I cry and no one hears me? Where is this new? Who's writing the rules to what? Who, right? Like, who's giving the direction here? I'm just like a little kid. The challenge between Neptune and Juno here in Virgo is a diligence, maybe even to try to recognize a new language, a new way to speak, a new way to talk, but also wanting very clear black and white understanding. And she gives that kind of clear black and white understanding in this life now, especially at her age. But in the past life I'm looking at, she didn't have enough language skills to convince the authority here with Saturn. Um, trining the moon, this person is dragging the little one away. She didn't have the right words in her mouth. She didn't have the right language. And I know that I just fell into a chart reading with you, but you ask about the electricity that you have. Um, Heather is, what would we call it? What's the C word? Clairvoyant. Heather is clairvoyant in this life. And she does have her communication in a way when she's channeling something or she sees a vision of something, it comes out very fast, very fast. And she wants to share that information with someone else because of what she's just seen. It's attached down here to her Venus in Cancer. So she's trying to do it in a soft way, right? Where her intention here with the other person is, hey, I'm crying here with Venus in Cancer. I'm trying to get your attention over here. So her Uranus ability actually elevates when she does get the other person's attention, when she finds the people who talk like her, who think like her. That moon energy is finally fed. It's finally like, I've finally gotten through my point. I have become the communicator now that shares information well enough with others that I can lead and guide them here towards a better way of doing something. So her quickest, fastest Uranus response to me would be that moment that she has brightens, like she'll smile, and in that moment, the other person looks and quickly smiles back. There's a passage between the two, seventh house Libra. There's the quickness and the swiftness of acknowledgement and recognition, her relationship with others, and the way they can pick up her cues. That's sort of like the space between, which is why that electricity is going through a space that is between. And that space between is the seventh house to me, the way that I have learned Libra energy and seventh house energy. To me, these are the fuel lines between the fuel tank and the engine, has to go through a bunch of fuel lines. And so to me, it's pneumatic, it's air. There has to be some force that is pushing us or pulling us like a vacuum, one towards the other. And in that space between, we find Heather's magic is the space between. So, was that beautiful enough for you? Unfortunately, Heather got bumped by the internet, so she bounced, and I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye for now. Don't forget to look us up on Instagram, on TikTok. I love TikTok. Um, For me, you can email me at pointyourcompass@gmail.com or go to Patreon channel and look up Point Your Compass. Heather is Woke One's Revolution, and she is on YouTube. She's also on Instagram. Both of us do readings, and you're more than welcome to ask. We're more than welcome to comply. We do hope that you come back and see us soon. We love all of you so much, and we're glad to be here of service to you guys. It's our function, it's our job. We hope that we do it well. Talk to you guys later. Bye.